Yeah. Okay, at 6 o'clock, get the meeting started. Say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag. States of America. To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice. Prayer. Lord, we thank you for your blessings today. We thank you for your faithfulness to us. God, we ask you that you'll help us today. Help us that we can be attentive to your work. I ask you, Lord, to help us in this business proceeding. We ask you in Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. All the magistrates is here. Need approval for the January 21st meeting minutes. Motion by Kevin. Second by Ed, all in favor? All right, motion carries. Thank you. We're going to start something a little bit different tonight. When you make your presentation, if you don't mind coming from the podium, because that way the mic can be picked up better on the out camera. So if you don't mind, come up to do that. We move on to roads. Monthly report.
Yes, of course, we had some more snow come in, so we've been taking care of that. Also, we've been, going around the county, filling in potholes. We just installed a new culvert pipe across the road on Sandy Springs Road. Also, we've also been trying to, get across all the gravel roads, trying to get those back in shape. Of course, with all the snow we just got again, we're gonna have to start all over again. We've also been putting up some signs, stop signs up and down, speed limit signs, and we're starting on the nameplate signs.
All right, any questions for Zach? Keep up the good work there, man. And I will say that there's a lot of roads, especially gravel roads in bad need of rock. The quarry's closed this week and we got salt boxes in. We can't be hauling rock and spreading salt at the same time. So just please be patient. If you got one that's just completely impassable, let us know. We'll try to do something. We took some rock to the Valley View and Tatum the other day, and it needs it again, I promise you. We took 2 loads on Valley View with a single axle. I had to quarry haul 4 tracks of loads down there to Tatum, but we had to take 2 loads on the county trucks just to be able to get up in Valley View, because the mud had done come through so much. So as soon as this weather breaks, we'll get back on them again. And the water, I had to get out of the quarry because the water is up in the quarry right now. And if they're not crushing at the quarry, just so people know, we can't spread frozen rock. There's some chunks in it. And if they're not crushing, they don't have dry rock. It's all got moisture in it, and then it freezes into chunks, so we can't spread it. So hopefully we'll get some thawing weather next week, they're saying, so we can get back on some of these gravel roads hopefully.
I'd like to say on the state road, be patient on our potholes. I had a couple of complaints. They said they're busy with flooded roads and everything else. They're trying to take care of it. They'll get the potholes when they can. So we got some on Elm Street, Whispering pretty bad.
Yes, it's the potholes is really bad. We got them in ours too. It's a hard time. You put a patch over one. I was pushing snow Sunday. You put a patch over a hole, and then the blade catches it and jerks it all out. But what do? You gotta scrape the roads.
I think we've been talking about, Scott, I do present this in the open court here, that Martin Lane, where it's called Paving Spur, we need to identify what that road name is in case there's an 911 call to look back there.
Yes, and what the problem is some people said Martin Lane that's what it was showing on Jason's maps, but on our maps it shows as Tatum Spur. So the guy that which his address is Eddie Road, but he's using an easement coming in off of Mark Lane or Taylor Spur, whatever we're gonna call it. So I'm not sure how, if 911 gets called, where do they go? And we got some other issues with some of this. We've already had one issue that I ended up going and just pinpointing it for them. And then I called, the state police post and they got that pinpoint and so they can get to the right house. So we may need to even do that with that particular house. Because like I say, when you look their address up, it's Eddie Road, but you can't get to their house from Eddie Road. So but I talked to Jason, he changed his name to Taylor Spur on his maps now, but I don't know what you do about the GPS. So we'll keep working on that.
That same issue going on with Harold auction over at Cameron. He called me one night and said, you think you can find out what this road is actually called? Because he said Google Maps doesn't agree with this. He said they're coming in here all the time to get equipment in their semis and driving right on past it. I'm like, they're idiots. There's farm machinery everywhere, but he said he's having the same problem.
Yes, and I can see that happening there too.
I looked it up on the Google Map thing and told him what it was. He didn't do the rest of it.
Yeah, okay. Okay, committee report, Brad, I think y'all met yesterday, didn't you?
Yeah, we met, went over a few things, all the equipment as of last night was doing good, but the freight line acted up today, but John and Adam's got it back out the barn now, so it's the fuel filters.
Yes,
So
those fuel filters is not that old, and I run that truck all day Sunday till six,
Right.
and it never give me a minute's trouble. So I wonder if they had a little water in it.
There's a big tank at the garage, got a filter on it,
Yes,
maybe they need to
they
change
may
it.
need to change it, those guys.
Yeah. I would do that
Yeah,
pretty often, I mean, the filter's what, $10 probably for that tank.
yeah.
And, so Zach got the spreader box all put back together and all the bearings. That worked out good. He said it was all working good. We discussed, getting on the base failures after all the winter.
Yes.
Snow gets out of here and water. Other than that, of course, did you get to talk to anybody on the bridge at Bullet Hill?
No, I haven't talked to anybody
Yeah.
yet on that. It's got some holes in it, that big around and that deep on one side,
Right.
and we got cones in it, but, I hate to see it shut completely down, because then them people are gonna be,
Yeah, it's a long
having
way
to go
around.
all the way down to, Franklinton Road to come out, but it may end up having to be, I don't know, we'll have to.
Yep, that's about all we had. Now Kevin's been looking at some, I got him on the internet looking at dump trucks again, but I gotta make sure we don't go to Pennsylvania or somewhere, you know.
Y'all,
I told him to send y'all the pictures, you and Travis. Yeah. Just getting ideas, you know, we got a while before we figure out anything anyway.
Long as he's gonna give me all what he wants.
yeah.
Motor side, horsepower, everything.
Yeah, the truck you sent me, it don't have it don't even say what kind of engine it is. It just said it's a,
All he, about bones rolled that out fast.
yeah,
He said, it's gonna be a process.
Problem.
So it's open.
okay. Everybody got any questions or anything about the road department? All right, we got the letter in for the rural secondary program for the flex funds, which, what that is there, it's $120,000 this year. Last year it was 112, but we can either use that for our roads, or we can turn it back to state, use it on the rural secondary roads. My thought is, as bad a shape as our roads is, we probably should go, bring it to ours, so, I mean, but it's your all decision, so.
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Use it
motion
tomorrow.
by Brad for the county. Okay, second by Carl, all in favor? All right, motion carries. I'll send it to Larry in the morning. Okay, move on to planning and zone and solid waste, I think
I've got Jason's report, yeah, they gave it to me today. From January 17th to February 13th, there were 15 electrical permits, 42 building permits. Next meetings, Board of Adjustments will be February 24th at 7 o'clock here at the 4-H building. Planning and zoning is scheduled for March 12th at 7 p.m. Here at the 4-H building.
All right. Okay, planning and zoning appointment for District 6. Carl,
Yeah, so like, we had conflict with Cindy being on county and city commission, so Dan Clark just want to take a spot on planning zone.
so you want to put that motion in?
Correct, okay, motion, we approve Dan Clark.
I'll second.
Motion is second, all in favor? All right, motion carries. We put Danny on. All right, Park and Fairgrounds, Toby.
So since you're not here. Besides scraping and throwing salt, we spent most of the time in here stripping the floors down, except for this one, and the hallway, and the small side, patching the walls, getting paint on them, and trimming all doors and
Yeah, it looks a whole lot better in there. The floor, I looked at it last night, it's really nice and shiny, hopefully it'll stay that way.
right. We'll get to this one next. An update on the new ball field. The dugout roofs are being completed now. They're at their nails and on the way. And we got a shipment of benches that we'll be getting put together and put in there.
Yeah, the dugouts really look nice. When they put that roof on it and everything, really changed the looks of them.
And some dedicated people out there.
Yeah, yeah.
That's it.
Anybody got any questions, Toby? All right, thank you. If we don't have any objections, I'd like to move Alan Bryant up the list. He needs to go check Heifer, so. If there's no objection, then we'll move Alan forward on up.
Thank you, I appreciate that. My efforts will also appreciate that. Thanks for putting me on the agenda. Just wanted to bring out a couple highlights, point out a couple highlights from the conservation district. Every year we do an art and writing contest. We had 650 students throughout the county participate. I'm happy to tell you that we had the second place winner in the state, Evan Hamilton. He's a student in Henry County High School. He won second in the state. He'll be recognized at the Capitol on March 7th. He's a gifted writer, so I can tell you that firsthand. Mobile Science Activity Center will be scheduled for the 25-26 school year. We hope to have it at Newcastle, Campbellsburg, Eastern, and at Eminence. It's a great opportunity for elementary school kids to learn about agriculture and how conservation and how important that all ties in together. On a Sunday afternoon in April, we're going to give away some trees. Tree seedlings. They're small. You're going to be patient. Can't give you a date yet because the Division of Forestry, who we get our trees from, they have to have the weather to be able to dig it. So hopefully sometime in April, it'll be on a Sunday afternoon after church, and they'll be free. You can come pick up. We'll have a wide variety. So start picking out a spot where you can where you can plant a tree. Or two. Let's see, district still has a no-till drill that you can lease out if you want to renovate your pasture, your hay ground, your cover crops. You can rent that from us. That's available to land producers here in Henry County. And a post drive is available if you're going to put in, if you're a landowner, you want to put up some fence, drive some posts. It's hydraulic. It moves every which way. It's really nice and easy to use. If you or somebody that you know of has livestock and is struggling with weather that we have right now, 4 inches of rain one day and frozen and snow coming, at the Conservation District, we're in a partnership with the Natural Resources Conservation Service as well as the Kentucky Division of Conservation. We might be able to help landowners that have livestock to put in some conservation practices. So if you want to get your cattle out of the mud, we might be able to help you out. For federal fiscal year 24, $780,000 was contracted here in Henry County. It's not completed yet, but that's a lot. And keep in mind, this is a county where there are more cattle than people. So, and that's based on January 1st USDA statistics. And
You think about that.
yeah,
There's more cattle here than there is people.
yeah, 24, according to that, 24,000 head of cattle, that's counted on January 1st of 23. What's population in Henry County, right at 16,000? So anyway, if you want to better manage your cattle, that's what we're here for. Almost, we can help you out. NRCS has the technical expertise. Conservation District tries to lobby for funding federally as well as state. And we've also got some local cost share for lime and cover crops. So you can contact the office and go from there. Let's see, what else do I need to mention? I think that's it. It's very brief. Any questions?
Who do you contact?
Post driver, you can contact the office, 845-2890. If you have to be a landowner here in Henry County. But yeah, the Conservation District, you can contact and make plans to bring it. Just be careful. It's easy to use all hydraulic. But
Just so you know, we got 600 trees on the tree thing. I've got some that, and they were twigs.
yeah, a little bit of patience, you'll have a great shade tree on that. So, anyway, thanks for doing it.
My thought on those trees, if you plant them in a little gallon bucket, and let them get some roots, and then set that, that's what I've been doing, and that really makes a difference in being able to keep the trees growing.
Yeah, we conservation districts throughout the state, you're gonna have to forgive me, maybe 2 million trees or so. Don't hold me to that number, but there's a bunch. They're all throughout the state, through the Kentucky Division of Forestry. And they got to dig before they get too big, but yeah, a little bit of patience along the way, that'll work out really well. So,
Thank you.
appreciate the opportunity.
We'll check your heifer.
Will do.
All right, next, we move to animal control. Danielle?
Step up.
You guys have this now. I've heard. All right. With adoptions, we have 5 adoptions this month, bringing the total of 1,000. Signs and repaint fees, 355. Donations, 773, bringing our grand total at 2128 per month. We do have a couple of different events coming up in March. Next week, we do have a presentation we're doing at Independence School with the kindergarten class. We want to make this our passion project. So we're very honored by them by that. And then March 15th, we do have a vaccine clinic at the shelter taking place. Dr. Luther Parker with Henry County Vet has donated his time to come out and rabies vaccine for us.
When was that? When was the vaccine?
March 15th from 10 to 12:30. And then on March 20th, I will be posting, on February 20th, it will be posted up and it will be open to registration, but on March 20th, we do have Caravan with PHS coming up to do a free spay clinic again. And they're going to be starting that back up for us to help try to keep some of the animal population down.
All right, any questions for Danielle? All right, thank you.
Anyway,
Roger, committee,
The committee had met with some of the Trimble County committee members at the conference the other day. Discussion of insulation for the ceiling for the shelter to try to capture some of the heat and air that's escaping from there. We got an estimate from a group that looked like it was within the budget, I would hope. And then also the heating system. It's needing help. So Trimble County got an estimate for the heating system. So I think those numbers are low enough that we should do it. Number one. Number two, the county judges should look over that. Projects that
write myself a note here. Right? Yes, I think they showed me some of the numbers at the meeting the other day, and it looked to me like it's something we can be able to do.
But,
Yes.
some of that money was from the, fencing project that didn't go over budget, but 8,000 under budget. So some of that money we used in that area, and then whatever we need that's left in the budget, to do the rest, whatever we need done, we can plan that in the future.
Any questions?
No, I got something. You want, if I can cut in here.
Yes, please.
Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion to dissolve the current Henry County Economic Development Council, which includes both the voting members and non-voting members of the council. Purpose for dissolving the council is that the council has become unorganized and destructive over the last 12 to 18 months and does not represent the county in a positive manner. The total monetary assets of the council should be dispersed in a manner defined in articles of incorporation. Per the article of incorporation, the fiscal court shall distribute assets to one or more tax exempt nonprofit organizations. During the current fiscal year, the inclusion of Henry County in an I-71 Economic Development Alliance has been funded 3/4 by the fiscal court, 1/8 by Campbellsburg, and 1/8 by Emmons. Therefore, it is recommended that the fiscal court disperse the monetary assets to one or more tax exempt nonprofit organizations of their choice. The remaining assets received to be distributed equally, 1/8 each to Campbellsburg and Emmons. The articles of incorporation and bylaws for the Henry County Economic Development Council should be dissolved of as required.
Oh, it's news to me, but, do somebody want to section it? Any discussion?
Yeah, I had a discussion, that economic development many years ago is not costing Henry County fiscal court now. In fact, they're self-supporting, go out and try to solicit donations. Right now, they're trying to get the bylaws updated, and all fiscal court here has to do is nominate 2 people to be on that board. To disassociate, I don't know what the purpose of that would be, because all we're doing is putting two people on that board to kind of help out. I think this motion means nothing. I think that it's a bad signal for economic development.
With that being said, that last meeting we had, the economic growth, you came in late. If somebody come in here looking to come in our county, they'd have ran out of this place. It's embarrassing what happened in that meeting. I mean, the bickering, the arguing, all that. We're having trouble getting people in this county. We don't need that part of our system. That good organization.
I think we'd be better started if we hired somebody part-time to do this job. Go out and try and drum up business, 20 hours a week, whatever. From what I've seen, ain't much get done.
Well, we'll have to do what's legal too. I mean, like I say, Cassidy's got to kind of guide us a little bit on this, because I hadn't talked to her about any of this. But we got a motion and a second, I guess, call the vote.
If there's any more discussion.
Anybody else have anything to say? All right, all in favor? Okay.
I got it.
Okay, all opposed? All right, motion carried. So, like I say, I'll have to get with Cassidy and find out what we even need to do on this. I do feel that we're gonna need to have some kind of a presence, but we may need to discuss what we wanna do on that as far as, how we want to work with Economic Development Council. I have talked to Shelby County, they got an industrial foundation. We need something, but we.
Right, right.
need to figure that out, maybe revamp it. But, okay, well, we'll move on to, county clerk, excess fees.
Okay, so I gave you guys information and reading material. I like to show exactly what has been dispersed and ran through the office. So I'm not going to go over it all, but it just shows how much have paid out of our office to the state, the fiscal court, all the taxing districts, how much licensing fees we send back to the state. If you would like to talk any more in depth, I did include the last pages was the quarterly report for the whole year, what was estimated and budgeted in December of '23, and the last column is what the actual numbers for the 2024 calendar year. So there were some fluctuations. A lot of people don't like to pay their taxes, so a few things were lower than anticipated, and a few things were higher, so we were blessed. I would like to present my excess fees check to the county of Henry County and fiscal court members for $119,781.39. I wish it were higher, but I think we will accept this check.
Yeah.
In favor?
Anybody want to make a motion?
Make a motion.
All right, motion by Ian, second by Carl, all in favor? All right, motion carried.
And Danny Shane wanted me to give it to him. Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you vote on that, Danny? Did you vote on that? To accept the excess fee? Okay. Thank you all very much.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll move to the sheriff's report.
All right, we responded to 191 calls, hits to dispatch, 96 calls to the sheriff's office, had 51 citations for criminal summons, 14 criminal arrests, had 12 warrant arrests, served 83 court papers, did 48 vehicle inspections, 15 carry concealed license.
All right, any questions for Keith? Okay, move on to sheriff's excess fee.
So on the excess fee, we're projected to get back $4,499.04. We have a check tonight, we have $14.80. And I'd like to add to that, we went to our cash basis this year. It's the first time we was able, for ones that don't understand what that is, any of the money that we collect in January, say January 1, but it may be coming from the previous year's taxes, we can use as cash basis to start operating on, because typically we start out year to year, every year with $0. We've already been able to pay 2 payrolls. One of my guys retired, we did that payout and paid some of our bills. If we had not been cash basis, it would have been $2,057.06.
And just to, make the public understand, that will change. Next year will be
Yes.
back up.
Next
It
year,
just-
it'll catch us up back up.
Yes, it just this year pulled it
Right.
back.
So, typically how many payrolls we get behind the end? We start off with 0.
We start at 0. So typically, we're 2 months into the year before we can even pay one.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's
We
one
have to
thing.
wait on advancement money from the state, but going to cash basis makes it where we can start using the money we get in January, even if it's for the month of December, we can start using it for the current year instead of rolling it back into that year. So next year, it's gonna catch.
It'll balance. Yeah. Yes.
But once we go to this, we have to stay with this, we can't bounce back and forth.
I think it's wise to stay at this anyway.
It's gonna help out a whole lot, like I say, we
Yeah,
started.
yeah, it helps us at the beginning, and it keeps you all paid on the payroll. Because that's our first, that's, thank
Okay, all right, so I need a motion to accept the check from Ed. He's been on accepting this. Have a motion to make it. Second by Danny, all in favor? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Next on the agenda is the, narcotics task force presentation. I thought it would be good. I know we've already voted on this, but just to let them make the presentation that they're making to the other fiscal courts, and it won't take a long time, but I think it'd be good to see.
So I'll just update y'all a little on this. Like the judge said, Henry, we're in the building phase of the narcotics task force, which will become the North Central Kentucky Narcotics Task Force. It was projected to have 6 counties: Henry, Carroll, Trimble, Odom, Gallatin, and Owen. As of now, we have 4 commitments: us, Henry County, Carroll County's committed, Trimble County's committed, and Odom County's committed. Gallatin and Owen, they're going to be at our next meeting. Since then, Franklin County and actually Scott County have reached out to us and shown interest in this task force. I'm a firm believer that, 90% of all crime is fueled by the drug problem, whether it be theft or assault, what would it be? But I think this is going to be something good. I think it's going to be, it's going to help our community out way after I'm going, Kyle will do the presentation. I joke and tell people the reason he does that, he's better at computers than I am, but honestly, I gotta give credit to. He's put a lot of work into it. He's got stats, and had all the nuts and bolts of how this thing's gonna be ran. Once it's up and running, it's gonna be board of directors and all that. But, I'm gonna let Kyle do the presentation on the projector screen over here.
Keep up the computer messed up. Travis, what do you do?
They work fine, what they do.
Anything else to do? You wanna move on?
I tell you what, let's just move on, and we'll come back to him. We need to get onto the, Pendleton sewer resolution, and what this is about is, I'm going to Washington next week, and we wanted to present a resolution saying that fiscal court is supporting the Pendleton sewer project, and that we're behind this, and so I talked to their representatives, and they said it would be better if we had a resolution. And we're going to take this packet. I think everybody's got the packet that Kip to put us together of just a community snapshot. I think that sewers would be very important in Pendleton. So Travis is going to read this resolution.
All right, County of Henry, Kentucky, resolution of the fiscal court authorizing the seeking of funds for the LaGrange Pendleton Road I-71 exit 28 sewer expansion project. Whereas along the corridor from LaGrange to Pendleton Road at exit 28 on Interstate 71, which anticipates rapid commercial and residential development, currently does not have sanitary sewer service, and on-site sewer systems are failing or inadequate, making it difficult to promote economic growth in Henry County. Whereas in 2013, the Henry County Fiscal Court and LaGrange Utilities Commission submitted a proposed project to the Kentucky Infrastructure Authority that would expand sanitary sewer service along the project corridor by means of an extension from the LaGrange Utilities Commission at an estimated cost of $9,664,660. Whereas Henry County's Area Development District, KIPTA, has prepared a planning document demonstrating the need for and otherwise provided support for the sewer expansion project. Whereas Henry County has applied for a loan from the Kentucky Clean Water State Revolving Fund, but has not yet received funding for the sewer expansion project. And whereas county officials have been making diligent efforts both to reach out to the potential property purchasers and companies to locate in the project corridor and to secure private funding sources for the sewer expansion project. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the completion of the sewer expansion project will promote economic growth in Henry County, as well as facilitate regionalization, eliminate failing on-site sewer systems, and potentially permit other properties along the project corridor to tie into the system, eliminating the need for on-site treatment. Resolved that the Henry County Fiscal Court hereby expresses its full support for the sewer expansion project and commits to providing necessary resources, including personnel, facilities, and to the extent possible funding to ensure its successful completion. And resolved that all applications, petitions, and other attempts by the county judge executive and other county officials and representatives to seek, secure, and private funding at local, state, and national levels for the sewer expansion project be and hereby are approved and authorized.
Okay, so we need a motion to accept this.
Motion to accept.
All right, motion by Kevin, second by Carl, Reed. All in favor? All right, I'll sign this, like I say, I'll take it to each of our senators and, Congress, and hopefully it'll make some difference, to get us some more federal money coming down the pipe. Thank you all.
Scotty, would be anything, along with these two things, what about the work that's already been done? But then a lot of the surveying and.
We probably should, but we've already done all really the groundwork as far as, the engineering side. I gotta call Rob when we get out of this meeting, about another matter, so I will talk to him and see maybe if I can get something from him before I go, and that way I can have it all together.
I think it will.
Yeah, but, okay, that sounds good. All right, Kyle, you get, yeah. Yeah, we go.
So basically what the sheriff spoke about a little bit ago, that's what this will be, the North Central Kentucky Narcotics Task Force. There's the 6 participating counties, or projected participating counties, 4 of those are committed, including ourselves. With a couple other projected counties that could maybe potentially join before it gets formed or maybe after. These are just statistics about, this is fentanyl specifically, opioids, from 2001 to 2021, because that's all the federal government had statistics on at the moment. But you can see that the arrests by the DEA skyrocketed fentanyl. You can see that the number of deaths have skyrocketed from fentanyl. And you can see that there's a number of arrests again. And 2022, 2023, and 2024 aren't going to be anywhere below the last number. It's just continuously trending up. So with that, we kind of been working on this and put this together and have been presenting it to different fiscal courts for all 6 counties to participate in a narcotics task force. The purpose of the narcotics task force would be to combat sale, use, and otherwise dealing of illegal drugs or substances determined to be in violation of Kentucky law, investigate all trafficking and aforementioned narcotics, investigate overdose deaths within the jurisdiction of the task force, document investigations, and prepare reports for the prosecutors. And you may ask, well, what is there to prosecute when somebody overdoses and dies? There's actually Kentucky law that allows law enforcement and prosecutors to charge dealers for some sort of homicide or a manslaughter statute when you can prove that the sale of that or the transaction of that narcotic is actually the one that killed or they overdosed. So instead of just charging them with trafficking, we can charge them with actually a higher charge and hopefully get more jail time out of that. And then obviously the local, state, federal agencies as it relates to narcotics investigations within the jurisdiction of the task force. So that's kind of the mission statement and the purpose for the task force. We'll get into a little bit of the nuts and bolts of how the task force would actually operate. There'd be a total of 12 board of director spots for the task force. Within those spots, we have one Commonwealth attorney, and within the 6 counties, there's 3 total Commonwealth attorneys to handle all felony level prosecutions. One county attorney, there's obviously 6 county attorneys within the jurisdiction. They handle all misdemeanor level prosecutions. 3 judge executives for their designee. The chief law enforcement officer for each participating county. The captain of the KSP Post 5 or his designee. The reason being for that is that Kentucky State Police are going to be a participating agency within the task force because they're going to provide a trooper to the task force. A total of 12 board of director spots. And then obviously there's some kind of caveats. No county attorney and judge executive will serve on the board from the same county simultaneously. And no Commonwealth attorney and county attorney will serve from the same circuit or district simultaneously. So that kind of keeps it even across the jurisdiction. So there were some concerns that arose from different magistrates, judges, people who were trying to get to participate in this. Everybody knows Oldham County is bigger than all 5 of the other counties. So a lot of people were like, well, we don't want one county necessarily running the whole show. You know, how do we know that you're going to be in our county versus wherever else? Well, this is a way for checks and balances to occur. So all 6 chief law enforcement officers will be on the board. That's all 6 sheriffs. Then the captain of KSP Post 5, and then 3 judge executives. 3 judge executives, aren't going to serve at the same time that they're, a county attorney serves. So there will be representation equally spread amongst the jurisdictions of the task force within all 6 counties. The duties of the board of directors, obviously the governing body of the North Central Kentucky Narcotics Task Force, the fiscal court of the task force, if you will. So they are going to be fiscally responsible for anything has to do money related or operational standpoint. They will be in charge of hiring a unit commander or a director of the task force to run the day-to-day operations. They will approve and disapprove the appointments of sworn personnel to the task force as recommended by the unit commander or the director. They will meet monthly or quarterly depending upon the bylaws, how the bylaws are set, for the director to basically give a progress report or status report. And that's another way the checks and balances will come into play because those 12 board members will be listening to the director of the task force, basically him telling her telling them what's been going on, no specifics, but here's what counties we've been operating in, this is how many cases we've generated, this is how many arrests, etc. No names, no specifics, no confidential or law enforcement sensitive information we pass along during those meetings. Approve and disapprove a budget that will be prepared by the unit commander or the director, and then establish the bylaws for the narcotics task force to follow. They would establish and adopt policies and procedures for day-to-day operation that would also be prepared by the unit commander. And then here is the duties of the unit commander or the director. Day-to-day operation supervisor, fiscal responsibility to maintain and stay within the budget approved by the board of directors, or otherwise seek approval for the additional spending from the board of directors. Seek and apply for grant funding, manage bank accounts as it relates to control narcotics transactions and asset forfeiture, and manage the intake and outtake of evidence, whether that's taking it to the lab, taking it to court, getting those lab results and producing those to the prosecution or cases, and then handling court orders for evidence destruction and asset forfeiture. They coordinate with participating law enforcement agencies for the task force and make recommendations to the board of directors for the appointments. Draft a policy and procedure manual to be presented and approved by the board of directors, and then draft the SOPs and SOGs to be followed in the day-to-day operations by the detectives assigned to the task force. Participating agencies as of now are these following. So you see Oakland County Police, Oakland County Sheriff, City Police, Trumbull County, Carroll County Sheriff's Office, Oakland County Sheriff's Office, Gallatin, and that's subject to change. Obviously, we know here in Henry County, there's 2 other law enforcement agencies that are within the county aside from just us. That's the city of Campbellsburg and the city of Emmons. So, and that doesn't count, Ishmael, we know there's a bunch of agencies that operate within our jurisdiction, but specific departments that are within our jurisdiction or our county. The city of Emmons, they got some opioid money also. I don't know how much not there inspections as the county's got, but they got some. I'm not sure if Campbellsburg got any, but as we were speaking with Van Ingram, or the Office of Drug Control Policy, or the Grants Management Branch, or any of those people, they were basically saying that the more the merrier. So to kind of get this off the ground and get it going, we couldn't really bog it down everybody all at once. We had to have a starting point somewhere, so this is kind of where we landed on a starting point, and this is what we kind of came up with. So these are all the agencies that would initially be participating with the proposed agreement as of now. Personnel would be sworn peace officers on contract from the respective law enforcement agency to the narcotics task force. They would be full-time narcotics detectives who are assigned to the task force. So it wouldn't be part-time, it wouldn't be, we'll give you somebody as we need it. The full-time officers sworn to do nothing but work for the task force within the jurisdiction. How would we get funding? So this kind of explains the grant funding for 23-24 is on the left, 24-25 is on the right. This is the Burn Jag grant. So this is what funds, basically, well, they give a portion of the money if they don't fund 100% of the task force to every task force in the state of Kentucky. So you can see on there, if it's highlighted in yellow, it means it was funded in 23-24, but not funded in 24-25. If it's highlighted in green, that means it was not funded in 23-24, but it was newly funded or the funding increased in 24 and 25. So, kind of see here, that's Lexington, Fayette County. Their number went up by $10,000 if you look from here to over here. So they got like 30,000 the previous year. It went up. And then the city of Guthrie, they went 104. City of Hodgenville, Fayette Task Force, and a couple others. The Lake Cumberland Area Drug Task Force is actually shut down, so they, I can't speak to exactly what happened there, but I know they were having problems and issues, and they had an interim director named, and then all of a sudden they decided to just basically do away with it completely, so that's why it wasn't funded in 24 and 25. The total number of funding for 23-24 was $2.1 million, and then the total number of funding in 24-25 was over $1.7 million. Partially because some of that grant money from the federal government was cut just a little bit, but there is a cushion there, and it came directly from the Office of Drug Control Policy and Grants Management, who are the ones who award these grants. There is cushion there of a number somewhere in here that is available for funding. So it's available, there's funding available. I think we can get the grant. The problem is just to get it up and going off the ground. Anytime you start something new and you ask for money, even if it's a business, you start a new business, you don't have a business plan, you don't have any revenue, and you go to the bank, they're not going to give you money. But if you go to the bank with a business plan and a year's worth of revenue, they're going to say, oh, yeah, they're a lot more likely to give you money. So that's kind of the direction that we've been guided by the powers that be, Grants Management Branch. Mr. O'Sullivan, he's the in charge of the grants. And then Van Ingram, he's the, director of the Office of Drug Control Policy. So they kind of said, this April is when it opens. We wouldn't be able to apply for it this April because we don't have any statistical data and we're not formed yet. So hopefully the sooner the better we get this formed, then we'll have until next April to where we can actually apply for that grant funding, and it would be awarded, I believe, in October, is when they typically do their awards. Future funding, or future sources of funding, this is gonna be the biggest one, aside from the grants, is asset forfeiture. So in the state of Kentucky, the way that asset forfeiture works is anything that is forfeited by a police department or seized by a police department that they seek forfeiture for through the courts, 85% of those proceeds, if it's money or monetary, 85% of those proceeds go to the forfeiting or the department who works the case. So in this case, it would be the Narcotics Task Force. So 85% of those funds would go to the Northern Kentucky Narcotics Task Force. 15% of those funds would go to the prosecutor who prosecuted the case, whichever district or circuit that it fell in would be who gets the 15%. Then obviously the burn jag grant, which I just spoke about. And then there's some other federal and state grants that we've kind of been told about as we're going through this process. We haven't really had a lot of time to do a whole lot of research on those, but we do know that they're available. Speaking back to the asset forfeiture side of things, we can seize vehicles, we can seize bank accounts, we can seize houses, you can seize a lot of things. The only things you have to do is prove that it was purchased or used with drug proceeds. You also have to prove that, that they're using it either in the commission of a crime or purchase with drug proceeds. So, with having a full-time team of detectives, that's a lot more attainable. So that's feasible for us to be able to do versus right now, we're shorthanded. If I were to be out here on the road, stop somebody with 2 or 3, 4 ounces of meth, I may seize their car or try to seize their car, but me being able to do the legwork to actually go back and prove that they were using that car to transport or to sell the narcotics would be kind of hard because I'd have to be on to the next call. I'd be working the next burglary. I'd be working the next wreck. I'd be working the next overdose. I'd be working the next something else. So while we were stretched thin at this level, I believe this is going to be a great thing for all 6 counties because you can't necessarily look at it as, well, we're giving an officer and we're giving this money. Yeah, you are. But I think you're also going to gain multiple other officers by joining this task force because you're going to have a team of 100% dedicated detectives that are going to be working every overdose in your county and working all the drugs in your county. So, I kind of have to say that here. I couldn't say that elsewhere. That's kind of all it is. It's just kind of an outline. I'll take any questions that you may have or answer anything you got. Any questions?
One thing, if you talk to the judges, are they going to prosecute
So
the attorneys? I mean,
that question's brought up multiple times. So a lot of the times in court cases, what happens is the prosecutor is actually the ones that go and they make the deals, or they get the rocket dockets together and then they present those to the judge. So all the prosecutors are on board. We haven't directly spoken to the district and circuit court judges about this yet. I know that they know about it, circuit court judges, et cetera. I know they all know about it because the prosecutors all, everybody talks. Mm-hmm. So they know what's coming. But they, yes, they are on board. I think the biggest part of that, where we start with that particular question is with the prosecutors, because they're the ones that are actually preparing any kind of plea deal that goes before the court to even be able to say yes or no to. They're the ones that write it up.
In our last meeting, the Greater Harlan County Task Force, their Commonwealth Attorney was there speaking to all the other Commonwealth attorneys that can be involved in these counties. And he looked directly at them and he said, to be successful, you got to put people in prison. And he said, we pick 10 names out a year of people who most likely commit a violent crime, and we find a way to put them in prison. He said, Al Capone was put in prison on tax evasion, not on the drugs or the people he killed, but he's in prison either way, the problem's gone. So they do that every year. They try to investigate and get the hardest criminal, the repeat offenders. How can we get these guys locked up for good?
Another question that's come up amongst the counties is, jail budget. Obviously might raise it a little with putting people in jail. You know, you can't have your cake and eat it too, so to speak. So if you're wanting this to work, if you want to put people in jail, you can't come back into the next fiscal court meeting and say, whoa, we gotta cut that jail budget. How are we gonna pay for that?
But you gotta look at it this way too. You arrest a dealer, you may have 5 junkies that's not stealing, and you have 5 locked up for theft. You may just have one dealer locked up. You know,
If we can go and get them through court, get them convicted,
So you want the state time to kick in?
yeah, we can get rid of that.
that's right.
Yeah, and that's true, but I think that's where a lot of the rocket docket stuff came in, was pushing, getting it off the local jurisdictions, fiscal responsibilities.
We got some that's been on there for 3 or 4 years that we're still paying for $40 a day. And they still ain't done nothing. Anyway,
Next question?
thank you.
Thank you, Kyle.
We're having our next meeting, this Friday at 10 a.m. I know you probably got an email, but all the magistrates are more welcome to come. It's at the community center in, Campbell, where, our best is gonna cater. So, all the counties and hopefully all the judges, a lot of the magistrates and sheriffs will all be there. If y'all wanna come.
What time was it?
10 a.m. Friday morning at the community center in Campbell.
If any of you is going, you might want to let Keith know, or somebody, just so they, make sure they got enough food.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Okay, cost of living for the elected officials, the judge, sheriff, and the clerk, they're set by the state. And we got 2.9%, raise this time. Travis, you want to explain the other?
So the other elected officials, the coroner, jailer, attorney, the court would need to decide what you're doing, if you're gonna do the 2.9%, as well as for you all as well. So at some point last year, there was discussion about it. I don't know if the motion was made or not, so we're kind of trying to clean this up, for that discussion of the cost of living, for magistrates. So in this, in the minutes, we need it to be 2 different motions. One for the coroner, jailer, and attorney. And the second for magistrates, was something along the lines of moving forward, this being the standard to take the cost of living. Similar to what was done at one point, but we're trying to get it cleaned up where we got it in the minutes practically.
We voted on it last year. Trying to get it cleaned up.
I'll make the motion.
Yes.
We got 2 different motions, one for the magistrate, one for the coroner.
And we need to do one at a time.
Just
So go ahead and do the coroner, jailer, and attorney.
Yes.
Is that to accept the cost of living
Yes.
and moving forward, that's what the standard would be?
Right.
Okay.
All right, motion by Danny,
Second.
second by Ed, all in favor? All right, motion carried. Okay, now to the budget.
I'll make a motion for the magistrates to take the cost of living and rate, pay increase, effective March, next pay period, March 1st. Yeah,
And moving
and
forward.
move every year. According to the state letter we get,
Yes, they send us a,
cost of living.
all right, motion by Ed, second by Kevin, all in favor? All right, motion carried. Okay, so hopefully we got that cleaned up. All
I
right,
wrote this one down.
I did before.
I know you did.
next, we move on to the salary schedule approval. We give you a copy of the salaries of all the people that are working for the county, and they've got to be approved every year.
I'll make a motion to
Okay,
approve the
motion
salary.
by Danny, second by Ed, all in favor? All right. Carry. Okay, claims and transfer. Motion by Danny, second by Brad, all in favor? All, motion carried. Okay, public comments, 3 minutes per speaker.
Okay, for the record, since this is being recorded, I'm Robin Barmore. Everybody knows who I am. And I'm glad I came tonight, or I would have been as blindsided as you are, Scott. That Brad had a whole, 4 or 5 page content.
It was one page.
Okay. I have a comment. I've let Amy Charles know what's going on, who is our chair of the EDC. And I want to just read what she said. Amy Charles, Henry County Economic Development Council. I have been advised that fiscal court voted to disperse money and disperse from the nonprofit entity Henry County Economic Development Council. Fiscal court has no authority over the Henry County Economic Development Council. As such, they have no authority to vote for or against any actions of an independent nonprofit. Rest assured, the Henry County EDC will be in touch with Cassidy Dees, she wasn't here tonight, and the actions of fiscal court tonight will be addressed in the near future. Cassidy Dees has told us that the EDC is no part of fiscal court. So, you know, we went to her council to know how to proceed in different things, and she has told us that unfortunately we're not a line item with you all. We didn't get the money from you all. What money we do have, I believe actually came from Shelby Energy to this, but we're not in any part. But we don't get any money from us anymore. So, and I know Carl has said the meetings have been disrupted. They have been. The last 2 meetings were disrupted because of a new council member who, and her husband who verbally and almost physically attacked us. So, I mean, he came up, cussed every one of us, cussed Amy, told us we were all a bunch of liars. You know, we do that. I've been 7 years on that council, giving my time, I get paid, to give my time to try to make a difference in this county. And I've done it with other entities and other things. I've sat on school board stuff. I've done quite a bit. Everybody knows. And I do it to try to make a difference. So, you know, I don't know what the big deal is of trying to, instead of trying to get rid of us, we need support. Right? We need somebody to help us. And we've asked fiscal court to help us. We've asked fiscal court to make us a line item, for it to be a part. You know, we're cleaning up the bylaws. We're trying to, you know, we've sought expert help for that as well. So I don't know why Brad and Kevin have decided they wanted to make a motion to disband an entity that's trying to make a difference. And like I said, I've been on it for 7 years, representing fiscal court when I was asked to be on it. And I had a million other things I could have been doing. Besides, yes, you know what I'm saying? So,
Your Honor, from my perspective, looking at it, I haven't seen the progress.
well, you have to commit to meetings, Kevin.
That's not part of the point. I mean, I drive through the county. If you drive through the county, what's the progress?
I didn't vote against it, but in their defense, it has been embarrassing. For longer than 2 months, Robin, for longer than 2 months, because I quit going because they called it it used to be called the Amy and Mike show. You know, I mean, I wish it was better. And like I said, I didn't vote it down, but in their defense, it has been embarrassing.
I agree. It has been very difficult all because Mike and me cannot get along, and it's not either one of them, they both, it's both it's fault. Mike, I mean, Mike, I mean, what are we supposed to do? I mean, get rid of both of them? I mean, it's,
You're done, we don't need you five.
well, anyway, I'm sure we'll see Amy tomorrow.
And I will talk to Cassidy, because like I say, I don't even know.
I agree, and I'm glad to talk to Cassidy, if she wants to, somebody want to get in touch with Amy and myself. Thank you.
Mike,
Thanks, Kevin.
My name's Mike Ray. I've been on council for 30 years. I've worked with a lot of other groups, other counties, Shelby County in particular, Oldham County, the I-71 Alliance. All of these folks are professional and know how to present themselves. Our meeting's been a food fight. Nothing has been accomplished. It's just a food fight. So I'm sorry that the meeting was canceled today. I had a lot of things to present to the group today, but this group does not represent Henry County positively.
Thank you.
anybody else got anything? All right, comments.
I believe with the Economic Development Committee, they were looking at avenues for the grant money for the housing for Henry County. There was some things going forward, moving in a positive direction. You can look at all the negative you want, but there are things that we're moving forward, and some things that we're going to continue to move forward. So,
Just from my perspective, I don't want to see our county, go backwards. We gotta have economic growth. And I feel that way. Because, and that's the reason I'm taking this resolution to Washington, hoping that we can make a difference with that, because I do think that Campbellsburg and Pendleton are two best places for economic development right now. There's a little bit of growth that can happen around Eminence, but not as much as those two places has got available. So, economic development is going, and I think tourism is going to be a big driver in Henry County. Ed can tell you, he brought in about 68,000 to the Renaissance Fair this past year. That's 4 times our size of our county. That's saying a whole lot to bring that many people in, and they buy groceries here, they eat at restaurants, they buy their gas here. So I think we got to have economic growth. Anybody else?
On a brighter note, share this with this work. I can't get it to work. Teach y'all like me.
Carl won that.
And duck call, I couldn't get the turkey call work, so we had to sell the duck. Yeah, it's supposed to be.
All right. How about a raccoon, man? Wait. All right, motion by Ed, second by Danny, all in favor? All right, thank you all.